Who is on the list of potential targets for Chelsea this summer as we try and bolster our striker options following the dismissal of Nicolas Jackson against Newcastle 2-0 at the weekend? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to From the Shed End. If you're new, as always, we are on the road to 800 subscribers. So if you're new and you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It costs you 0 pence, £0. So make sure you subscribe before you leave the video. Now, I did speak about Nicolas Jackson in the last video. It was a very blurry video. Just checking that this one is clear as anything, like the sunshine outside today. But we have to address a couple of things. And this is a follow-up almost to the last video. Because Nicolas Jackson cannot, should not, and will not lead the line for Chelsea next season. He can't lead the line. It's clear and obvious to see. Now, I was reading an article yesterday from The Athletic that clearly says Nicolas Jackson, 10 yellow cards last season. He served 2 separate bans for 10 yellow cards, accumulation of 10 yellow cards in the season. This season, he's on 8 yellow cards. And I think he's got 1 red card, which was the Newcastle recent one last weekend. So this is a player that is not learning from mistakes he's made in the past. This is a player that was out for 2 seasons. This is a player that I think has only got 12 goals this season as a striker. If you're going to win the Premier League or you're going to compete for the Premier League, you're going to compete for trophies and Champions Leagues and all the rest of it, you need one player that is going to score you 24, 25 goals a season, not a combination of different players like we have at Chelsea, or you've got, Cole Palmer chipping in with a couple, Madueke, Sancho. You need a goal scoring machine in front of the ball. You need someone that's going to be able to take a game that is when you're under the cosh and make something happen. Nicolas Jackson is not the guy. I'm not saying we should sell him at all, but to see him next season as a first team out and out striker, it can't happen. It cannot happen. Now, of course, a list has been drawn up. There is talk coming out of the camp from Liam DELAP currently at the moment that he actually doesn't want to move to Chelsea. He favours Manchester United. He wants to move back up to the Northwest, where he spent 5 years in the academy for Man City before moving down to Portman Road at Ipswich. I'm going to be honest, like £30 million, I think he's only got 12 goals again this season in the Premier League. It doesn't fill me with worry that we miss out on this transfer target. Liam DELAP is not the be-all and end-all. He's a good player. He knows where the back of the net is, but is he an improvement to Nicolas Jackson? Is he going to take us to that next level? Is he the Benjamin Seskos and the Victor Gyökeres, the Victor Osimhen? Is he at that level? I don't think he is. I don't see enough of Liam DELAP to say we need to go and spend 30 million. Now, Jean-Philippe Mateta is out of contract in the summer at Crystal Palace. If we were going to bring someone in as a stopgap or the Olivier Giroud, the Loic Remy of the summer signings, that potentially would be it. The Mateta signing would make more sense. A free transfer, probably low on wages. We could bring him in. You're saving yourself £30 million, which is the release clause for Liam DELAP. If Mateta isn't available or we don't go for him, then we have to go all out and get the striker in. Now, we've spoken on here plenty times before about the prioritization of, bringing in another centre-back, getting a goalkeeper and a striker. But as the season's panned out, it's clear as day, night and day, that we have to bring in a striker first. The striker has to be the one. It has to be the first point of call. We can't afford to have Nicolas Jackson or Mark Gu, who's missed a load of football this season. And we can't rely on Christopher Nkunku, who will probably not be here next season anyway, to do the job for us. We have to bring in a prolific number 9. Now, my money would be on Benjamin Sesko. Again, someone who I think is about 25 years of age, might be a bit younger, 25, I think. He's probably going to be fitting the profile for these owners. The only one, you look at Osimhen, too much money. Gyökeres, I think, would potentially favour a move elsewhere. Now, if Liam DELAP does end up going to Manchester United, which I don't blame him, they might get Champions League football. We might miss out on Champions League football. I get it. But would Victor Gyökeres come to Chelsea knowing he'll be playing in potentially the Europa League or the Conference League next season? Now, if we win the Conference League, of course, it would be the Europa League. But if we don't win the Conference League and we don't finish in those places to get a Europa League finish in the season, Another season of Conference League football. I can't see it happening. We've got 2 games. It's almost mathematically impossible. But we have to go and get Gyökeres at all costs. And and if we do make the Champions League, there's nothing these owners can say or make or do if they don't bring that signing in. Because Liam DELAP is favouring a move for a team that is currently 15th or even 16th or 14th in the league, in the bottom half of the table. And he's favouring a move currently, hinging his bets on the fact that United win the Europa League to get into the Champions League. He's favouring that move above Chelsea, who have spent £1.6 billion. And they need a striker. We need a striker. And he's favouring a role where you've got Rasmus Højlund. Marcus Rashford will eventually be going back to United if the Villa deal doesn't go through for him. The door's open for him at Chelsea to make that number 9 role his, and he's favouring a move to Manchester United. Now, I'm guessing the 2 big factors is the Northwest, is where, as I said, his family are probably up here. He's travelling back and forth to see his family a lot. But also the Champions League is a massive, massive thing. And I think if Chelsea get into the Champions League this season, I think the club will have to go out and change their wage structure. They will have to do that. Because a lot of eyes and a lot of fingers are pointing at the sporting directors and the owners at the moment, and rightfully so, because they haven't done the job that they should have done. They've been here now for nearly, this next summer window will be their 3rd one. And I'm sure they said something like, judge us after our 2nd transfer window in the summer, or our 3rd one. That's what the owners came out and said. They don't judge us straight away. Let us do our business. Let us get our feet under the table, and we'll bring the players in. Now, they brought a lot of players in. The problem is they're not the quality and the level, and it doesn't fit the profile of some of the managers that we've had at the club in previous times as well. So there's a lot of mismatch going on. Look, they have to get this right in the summer. Goalkeeper situation, I think we're going to see Petrovic come in. Maybe Jurgensen goes on loan. I think centre-backs, we know Dean Huijsen has been linked with us heavily, but now it looks like he could be going to Real Madrid. So we have to look at other options there. But the striker is the key one for me, because if you look at the records tell you that Nicolas JACKSON's just not doing the job for us. Yes, he had a really good purple patch, but he's not doing the job for us. He's not good enough to play that role week in, week out, change the game. When it's 1-1 and we need a goal, you can't rely on Nicolas JACKSON. And you need to rely on your strikers. This is why Olivier Giroud was so good at what he did. Because even though he was second fiddle at the time, he was still a game changer. He still contributed in ways that won us trophies, got us into the top 4, won us Premier Leagues. So we need strikers like that. We need strikers, Demba Bars, that are going to just step in and do the job. And they know where the back of the net is. We can't have a striker as unreliable as Nicolas JACKSON and really sort of not, as I said at the start, not learning from mistakes. 10 yellow cards last season, 8 yellow cards this season, and a red card to go with it. That ain't good enough. Now, if you're scoring 30 goals a season, 25 goals a season, no one gives a shit about the yellow cards. I actually don't give a shit about them. The reason I bring them up is because it's a massive thing when you're getting suspended so much. We don't have another striker on the bench, and you're not doing the job you're in the team to do. If you're scoring 30 goals a season, but you're suspended for, 3 out of those 20-odd games a season, no one gives a shit then. No one gives a shit because you're doing the job you're supposed to be doing. Yes, we'll be annoyed that you got suspended, or if it was for things that actually warranted the yellow cards, there was no need for Nicolas JACKSON to make that challenge on Sunday. There was no need for it. It ruins the game. And I think Maresca, I think the owners, I think the sporting directors, Maresca didn't speak to him straight after the game. He allowed himself time. You could see the frustration on Sunday whilst he was getting subbed off. But we have to look at some of these options, because if I'm being honest, Osimhen, for me, if we're going to go down this line of order, Osimhen for me would cost way too much. I think we'd have to either break the wage structure or take a hit in terms of PSR. We'd have to make sure we qualify for the Champions League. He's done well whilst he's been, his time at Napoli. And I think he's doing okay at Galatasaray, but we need someone in front of goal, cost effective, but also very reliable. And Victor Osimhen is that, but I think we've seen that deal happen before. We've tried to get it over the line. We didn't. Wages got in the way. I don't think anything's going to change this summer. I think he's not going to suddenly turn around and say, actually, I'll take 110 grand a week. You know, if he was asking for 200 plus thousand a week, that ain't going to change. That's not going to change. Now, the only thing I'll say about Sesko is I think he's currently actually 21, not 25. He scores goals and he can assist. Now, he kind of fits the profile. He's the lower cost effective than Osimhen in terms of wages and transfers. But what I will say is we haven't had the best of luck with players that we get from the Bundesliga. When you think about Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Christopher Nkunku, just to name three of them, we haven't had the best of times with these Bundesliga players. Now, I'm not saying it's because of the league or whatever else, but Benjamin Sesko would have to be just as prolific as he is for Leipzig, as he is now for them. He would have to, 13 goals this season in 32 matches, 5 assists, 2 yellow cards, 1 red. I'll take that. We're signing him today. He's only got 2 yellow cards all season. We'll take him. But I'm looking at his stats. I mean, they're not that much better than Nicolas JACKSON. But what I think he gives you a bit more dynamism. I think he gives you something else. I think he's a player that is able to hold up the ball better, work the ball better, use the space in front of him better than Nicolas JACKSON. I also think Nicolas JACKSON needs competition. When he's out injured, we were all relying on him to come back and play as well as he did, early on in the season, but he never. He's come back and all he's done is, stunk out the place and then he's got sent off. He hasn't done anything. So I think for me, Benjamin Sesko would be brilliant. I think he'd be the first choice for me in terms of the cost that it was going to get him to the club, the wages. Jean-Philippe Mateta is there. Free transfer. We like a free transfer under this new ownership. But I think for me, we have to address it. We can't even go into the Club World Cup. We can't even go into the Club World Cup with Nicolas JACKSON as the striker. The Club World Cup starts in less than a month. We can't even go into that with him as a striker. We just can't. Pedro Neto would probably have to play there, makeshift. Cole Palmer. We can't have Nicolas JACKSON starting in that Club World Cup. I don't want to see him sold, but I think he's got to do better. And the list of out-and-out strikers isn't that amazing. Victor Osimhen, Victor Gyökeres, Liam DELAP, Benjamin Sesko. That has to be the shortlist. That has to be the shortlist of strikers for us. Anything else, anyone else, I'm not interested in. But let me know what your thoughts are. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Who would you like Chelsea to sign in the summer as a striker option to give Nicolas JACKSON the competition I think he actually needs next season? Should he kick on? Should he stay or not get loaned out? Don't forget the Linktree link in the description. And as I said at the start of this video, subscribe to the video. We're on the road to 800 subscribers. Until tomorrow, we'll be back soon. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.